This is a very special Highnote webinar, and it's our first ever one exclusively for REMAX agents and brokers. And we're so appreciative of you for joining us today. My name is Lisa Fettner, and I am here with Mark Choey from Highnote.
Hey,
And hi, Mark. He's going to join us and talk in a little bit. And Highnote was recently selected by REMAX to be the digital component of the master pitch. And that's what I'm going to talk about initially. And then Mark's going to walk you through Highnote. And the master pitch is REMAX's new system to help agents win more listings. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide, Mark. So here's Mark and I. Hi, this was recently taken at R4. We were talking about the master pitch and how Highnote fits into it. And the master pitch was created by Mark and Chris Lim, who's the president of REMAX, and Chris and Travis Sexton, who's the other person in the photo, brought the master pitch to REMAX because it's an easy way to create clarity, confidence, and conversion throughout the sales process. And clarity because it makes it possible for prospects to see your value and understand what you have to offer. It gives them confidence that you are the best agent for them, who will get them the absolute best price for the least stress and hassle. And conversion, they will have everything they need to make the right decision to choose you as your agent. So the master pitch really breaks into three sections. The first is the pre-work. That's the information that you send in advance, and it's designed to showcase the value and power of REMAX and to help you stand out from the competition. The pre-work is designed to be sent or dropped off before you meet with your clients. And this is where you showcase your expertise and knowledge of the area that they're in and the market. Sending this information first is really important because it means that you can focus on the prospect's needs when you go to phase two, which is the game plan or the in-person meeting. What's important about this is that you don't have to waste time during the meeting telling prospects about yourself and your value. You can really focus on what is important to them, their goals, their needs, their timing, make it about them, and it becomes a very personalized and customized experience. Then you have the post pitch, which is honestly where a lot of agents fall out of the process. This is the follow up where you're addressing specific questions that were raised during the meeting. This is where perhaps you include a CMA, you include your marketing plan, you include all the information that they need to make a decision and help you close the deal. So let's go to the next slide, Mark. One of the cool things is that REMAX has created a whole series of pieces that you can use at every state in this process. You can use, they have a beautiful attache, all pieces that you can buy in the store, in the REMAX store. They have an attache that you can drop your pre-listing presentation off at. They have a beautiful leather folder that you can use in your listing presentation. And they have many other pieces that you can use throughout this process. But one piece of the process that has become really important is a digital presentation. And that's where Highnote comes in. One thing that makes Highnote so exciting, and Mark's going to talk about this, is that it's a digital presentation. So you can drop something off in person, you can send a digital presentation at both the beginning and as the follow-up. So not only do they get the information right away, but as Mark's going to show you, you can also get live insights and tracking into what the clients and prospects are looking at. The other thing that we've done at Highnote, just like REMAX has built ready-to-use pieces, is that we have a number of ready-to-use templates that you can access for free and just go ahead and build your presentation that aligns with everything that REMAX has designed already. So why don't we get into it now? Mark, I'm going to let you
Great.
take it away and tell everybody what Highnote is all about.
Yeah, thank you for that great introduction, Lisa. All right, Highnote, next generation real estate sales platform. It's AI, it's digital, and it's interactive, and it makes you stand out as a listing agent and helps you win deals at a much, much greater rate. It's proven, tested, battle tested. We have thousands and thousands of agents on it today, and it was born out of my and Chris Lim's brains. And just to give you a little bit of a background, and I'm going to give you a history of High Note and our careers, but I'm an agent just like you, number two condo agent in San Francisco back in the day. I took my foot off the pedal and I've slowed down a little bit to start High Note, but I was a great agent. And I'm currently with Christie's International Real Estate, where Chris was before he joined REMAX. Climb, we built Climb. We grew it to a top 250 brokerage in the US and in just 5 years. And then we sold Climb to Realogy, which is now Anywhere and now Compass, which is crazy to think about. But Climb was purchased by Realogy. And, we taught hundreds of agents how to win when we built Climb. And really based on our work in the field and how and honing our craft in winning listings. And this method is incredible way to do that. And Chris is bringing it to all of Remax, which is what the master pitch is all about. The secret, having a better presentation wins appointments and it wins listings. That's the secret. Now, the hard part is actually putting that presentation together, but we've made it easy with High Note. So let's talk about that a little bit. And I just want to show you a little bit of our humble beginnings. This was our first real estate office. It was a dump. It was this horrible live work loft in south of Market in San Francisco. Really like a $500,000 loft, which is probably high for most places, but this is the bottom of the barrel in San Francisco. And we elevated this company and we grew it. And through Chris's vision and his tenacity, and we were able to build an amazing, amazing brand and company. We did a lot of tech, we did a lot of great marketing, and we had a lot of great agents and a lot of great sales skills. We did about a 1 billion in volume, 110 agents, and let me tell you a little bit about why we built this system. Well, one, we were the little guys. We were the small funnel on the left here, and we were competing against big dogs. We weren't the top agents, and we weren't around for decades or a century like some of our competition, like Coldwell Banker. But and we were not the most experienced agents either. We were new to the scene. So we asked ourselves, well, how are we going to compete if we are new, young, and not been around for a while? Well, we had to find a way. And so the good thing is that we always felt like we were at a disadvantage. So it made us work harder at every step of the way to ensure that we won these listings. And so we asked ourselves, well, how the hell are we going to beat top producers? How are we going to win every single listing lead out there? And because you just don't know when your next listing lead is going to come. So uh, we figured it out, and the answer is look like a top producer, right? Have a presentation system that a top producer would use. And admittedly, not all top producers use this system because a lot of them rest on their laurels, they rest on their sales, they rest on their reputation. But if they were to make the best presentation system, what would it be? And that's what we developed with the Master Pitch and the High Note. Now, um, we used technology in a new way. This was 10 years ago, in 2015, 2014 timeframe. And what we found out was that a well-crafted pre-listing presentation, whether digital or in print, is your secret weapon to dramatically increase your chances of winning over sellers. And I'm going to tell why the pre-listing is so important, and especially a digital one. We started off with print ones, and you need a print one for sure because you need to bring it, or you maybe need to drop it off. But you also, in today's technology-centric world, you need to have a digital one. And I don't mean just a PDF, but we could talk about that. So print it. You have those resources at hand at Remax, and sending a PDF, sure, you could do that, but it's a 50 megabyte, 75 megabyte file, and it's not a great reading experience. Um, but what we did was we built a product that would deliver them online and make it interactive, almost like a web page. And what did that do? Well, it made it more readable. It made it such that you could track the reader analytics in the seller analytics. You could track the seller engagement inside of the listing presentation. You just can't do that with a PDF today. Um, and then you could make your online and interactive listing presentation really, really stand out. And it impresses sellers. It really impresses sellers because it shows that, hey, if you're going to go to extra mile to build something that's so incredible, you are most likely the right type of agent to sell my home because you're so on top of things. You do things better than other agents. And I'm so impressed and blown away by what you've done. Why would you not do, both printed and online and interactive? You should do everything you can to win that listing. You just need to be a little bit better than the other agents out there. And that's what we always told ourselves. We just need to be a little bit better than the other agents. And everything you can do to effect that is going to help you win listings, especially today when listings are so few and far between. Now, let's talk about the whole listing appointment process. First, this is the whole process for winning an appointment and winning the listing. So one, the lead finds you. Two, there's an initial email or phone call. Three, there's an in-person meeting. This is where you show up and do your listing presentation and look at the home and meet the sellers. Then you have a follow-up, and then you have a close. Now, there are two key times in this process where you can add a moment, another touch that a lot of agents just don't do. And I'm not talking about, obviously the in-person one, you're going to have a touch because you're seeing them in person. But I'm talking about here, right before. So you want to send something great. It could be a box of chocolates. It could be a beautiful printed thing. It could be flowers. It could be whatever it might be. But you also want to send the digital. And that's where the Highnote comes in. And then you have your meeting, and they're already ready to talk to you because they've read the digital presentation or the printed one. But with the digital one, you know what they read. And you can be prepared for your meeting in a way that other agents will not be because you'll know the sections they read and the sections they did not read. And then it makes the in-person meeting smoother. Why? Because you don't have to reintroduce yourself. You don't have to talk about your brokerage. You don't have to talk about what you do. They've read all those things. So now you're just dealing with what they're feeling, their emotions, their goals, why they're selling the house, etc. And it makes the in-person meeting less of a cold meeting and more of a warm one. And then you have the follow-up. Now, a lot of agents don't even send anything after. They just maybe send an email. But we think it's a big mistake. You need to send another presentation, especially if you have not won it at the in-person meeting. If you did not win it and did not sign anything at the in-person meeting, that means it's close. They're considering other people. Maybe you weren't the last one to meet. You always want to obviously try to be the last one to meet, last agent to be there because they will remember the last one first. But if you're not and they still have to decide, well, it's close. Well, why would you not do everything you can to try to win that. And what you should do is send another follow-up presentation. Now, this follow-up presentation usually can't be printed. It can be, but it's very difficult to print in such short time. And so sending a digital one is crucial, especially if you have to, talk about valuation, next steps, and I'm going to show you all of the sections that go into these great follow-up presentations. All right. So the way to think about this, a listing appointment, is you're breaking up a sales appointment into thirds. There's a pre-sale, in-person, and then a follow-up sale. All right. I hope that's clear to everyone. Now, it's a two-step method that we built and Chris Lim pioneered for us. And this is his pre-listing presentation, an exact one. We changed the title here, but something that we used back in the day. And the way it goes is it's first about the agent. Meet Chris Lim, like meet me. This is who I am. And you want to talk about yourself a little bit at first, and then having a great
I'm Chris Lim, and I'm the founder of Climb Real Estate. I don't know what my favorite name.
having a great video is awesome because humans like videos. They like to see other people and they react better. If you show a video, when you show up in person, they feel like they've met you already. It's kind of like seeing a TV star or movie star in person. You feel like you know the person. And then it's a shock when you go say hi to them and they don't even know who you are. But the point is sending a video is a great way to win ahead of time. Then you want to talk about your team and your brokerage. Like what makes your team and your brokerage so great? Now, if you don't have a team, make one up. You have a spouse, you have children, you have a broker manager, you have a marketing team at the brokerage, you might have an assistant, you might have IT team or marketing team, include them. Every seller would like to see that you have a team of people in case you are not around, but also it demonstrates implicitly that you have a lot of business. So always include a team if you can. Then we talk about, the brokerage, as I said, what makes the brokerage so great, our presence. A lot of sellers don't like it when you are out of area or don't know who you are or don't hasn't heard about, REMAX in your area, or maybe REMAX is not number one in your area. There's another brokerage. So you really want to cover your bases and tracks and talk about all of your presence all around your area. Then includes some unique services you might provide. In Chris's case, his sister was a designer, and therefore she was in-house, an in-house design team. And so this was a great way to stand out. Um, for Chris because it was something other agents could not provide. So if there's something that you can provide and do that other agents can't, make sure you include it. And don't include everything else all agents do. Like, oh, I'll put in the MLS, I'll hold open houses. I do marketing, I do videos. Everyone does that. So you need to show what you do that others do not do, right? Now, then you want to talk about results that speak for themselves. Similar properties that you've sold that the seller owns. So you want to showcase some properties that you've sold that the seller owns. And then here in this case, we showed three of them. And then you also want to validate that your brokerage knows this address. Because again, you may not be number one in that address or location. And a lot of sellers will go with just the number one agent or number one brokerage. So you want to give validation that, hey, we know this area too. So make sure you do that. Now, the next steps are informational, navigating the home sale, marketing timeline, what happens during the sale. There's a planning, advisory, off-market prep, listing goes on the market, in contract, and closing. We provide this sort of template for free. After an offer is accepted, what happens after that? And then you start getting into home value. Now, it is our recommendation and a lot of others that you do not send the home value before seeing the home and before understanding what the seller thinks of the home in terms of value. Never send it ahead of time. You can be wrong. Either way, you could be under what they think it's worth or over, and then it's going to shoot you in the foot immediately right off the bat. There's no reason to send in the value now. So what you do is send in something like a title report or tax records where you have some information about the home that they haven't seen before. And if you include tax records or public records where it's available, you can show facts of the home, like who owns the home, how big's the home, the lot size, the square footage, the last sale price, the some of the liens and transactions, mortgage on it. And it provides a couple things. One, it shows that you did homework and it personalizes this presentation a little more. Two, it shows who the actual owners are. Very often you're speaking to one of the owners and there's two, like a brother and a sister, for example, in case of like a parent spouse dying or something like that. I mean, a parent dying. Or it could be maybe a husband and wife, and maybe only one of them's on the call or the meeting. So you want to make sure you understand everyone that's an owner and making sure that they're involved in the decision-making process. Two, it clarifies facts. Oh, tax records say, or public records say your home is 3,334 square feet. They might be surprised by that. Oh, like it's too low or something like that. So it's really good thing to show that you did some homework. And then what's the value of the home? And then you say, after I walk your home, I'll provide you with a comprehensive broker price opinion. And you don't want to, even if you think you know what the home is because it's so easy, it's so clear. Be very careful. You don't know what the seller thinks, right? You really don't. And so you don't want to promise the home is worth 800 when they think it's worth 900. You're immediately killing your chances. So don't do it, like I said. Now you talk about your partnership. Sample listing agreement. This is a great thing to send. Why? It's a presumptive close or an assumptive close, which basically means that you're signaling to the seller that you need to sign this thing and you're gonna close this agreement, and it's a sign of strength. The other reason why you do it is because if you send it with Highnote, you can see if they're reading this. If they are reading the listing agreement, you know this is a serious seller, and you could see how long they're spending on it, etc. Now, NAR commission lawsuit settlement. What's it all about? You might want to talk about this, even though it's a little old now, it's 2 years old, but you want to address the elephant in the room. I heard commissions are changing. What's the deal? And so explain what's going on with the commissions. Is it changed or not? And then, help them understand that, hey, it's just the way commissions are paid to the buyers. My commission hasn't changed, but the way we pay buyers has. So explain that to them, right? Now, then show your testimonials and why you again. So this is the best pre-listing presentation you're going to find on the market, and it's going to win you business, guaranteed. Now, what I want to do next is I want to show the analytics, how the analytics work. And what I'm going to do is I am going to demonstrate that by sending a link to in the webinar here. And so this is the REMAX listing presentation we have. It's just a template. So, it's a lot of templated stuff and content. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this and I'm going to create a link. Now, REMAX Master Pitch. I'm going to name it that, and I'm going to generate a link, and I'm going to require an email to view it, just so I know who's looking at it. Now, what I'm going to do is send it in the chat here, and Oops. Let's see. Didn't copy it. Let me copy it again. All right. Let's send that in. And everyone on the webinar, open it up and start interacting with it. And I'm going to show you what happens on my side, the analytics on my side. So as you're doing that, I'll give it some time to let people interact with it. And all right. So what I can see on my side is who has interacted with the presentation. So I see fettner@gmail.com. She opened it one time. She's on a Chrome browser and she checked it out. She checked out 2 of the 12 assets, the REMAX collection, and checked out voted #1 most trusted real estate agents in the USA. And then Eric Edwards has opened it one time. And didn't really interact with it yet. And then let's see. So who else? Chris K opened this one time and checked out one item. Um, syoni@gmail opened it one time, and go through some of the sections in there and you could see uh I could see, so you're on a Safari browser, you're probably on a Mac, right? And you're check out the REMAX Home Seller's Guide, 5 of 12 pages for 10 seconds. So I know what you're looking at. And it makes a huge difference if, say, if the seller is looking at, let's say, your testimonials versus the selling process. If they are looking at your testimonials section, what does that say about your seller? The seller doesn't know you yet and doesn't trust you, right? But if they're again looking at the listing agreement and reading the documents, the legal documents that they're going to be expected to sign in order to work with you, that tells you something very, very different. So having this information and this knowledge is crucial to winning more listings, and it impresses the sellers because they see something so cool online and interactive like you just sent them. Other agents are not going to be sending something like this. And even if they are, you're at least at par with them, right? If they are not, you're ahead. So, cool. And then I'm going to show the follow-up presentation. And this is what we use to follow up. And basically, it's the scenario where, it's close. They haven't decided yet. So this is really just the putting the nail in the coffin to really try to seal this. And so what you say is something like, hey, we walked through the home. I spent time, looked at pros and cons of the home, and give some observations. Then have your strategy and recommendations, right? Like, oh, the strategy is, since you're living in your home and have not identified a replacement property, I recommend a strictly off-market approach. Whatever the strategy is in your area or in this seller situation, you should put it in here. Target demographic, like who's the likely buyer for this home? Is it a family? Is it a first-time buyer? Is it a retiree? Who is the demographic that's going to be buying it, right? And then timing. Is there seasonality in your market? Every market has seasonality, so you got to really be cognizant of that and explaining to sellers that, hey, the winter is not a great time to put a listing on the market. The spring is, or maybe the summer is, whatever it may be. Then you insert your broker price opinion, your valuation. In this case, in San Francisco, we generally use the MLS. We don't use a cloud CMA, but you could put a cloud CMA in here or any other CMA package. We need to fine tune and pick the right comps because homes are so variable and the market is really fickle. So we include sections like, oh, all neighborhood sales, recent sales, just recent sales, maybe in the last 3 months in the neighborhood. Then I pick, oh, this is the most relevant comp for your home. And then maybe we have a baseline comp, like, hey, this is the lowest it could possibly sell for because this is the worst house on the block. And then what's the value of your home? And then this way I can see what sections they're looking at. And also it helps break it up and makes it very clear, what they to analyze and understand the value. Then you want to include a section on online property values. That's very important, as well as the dangers of overpricing. We have this, a lot of these templates have these things built in, and dangers of overpricing. And then some next steps. Here's what we'll do next. Sign the agreement. Then we're going to start, recommending fixes to the home, handyman, painting, staging options, etc. And then reminding them importance of disclosure, right? And start acting like their agent. Start working like as if you're like their agent and giving them some advice ahead of time, and telling them things that are really important for them, like disclosure, and then also reminding them why it isn't selling. Don't make these mistakes. The number one reason is because it's overvalued. You're asking too much. Two, it doesn't look good. Three, you're at the home. Don't be at the home when I'm showing the home, etc. So we have all these great templates. And then, all right, so now let's get started. Here's a summary of my recommendations, sample listing agreement, and my team, my testimonials, and again, why me? Shauna, you asked, can that be turned off? Yes. So like you see this one, it's turned off, but you can totally turn that off, the feedback when you send it. And great. So let's continue with the presentation. Again, you want to send the follow-up presentation. Why? Because you need to go for it. What's at stake is your commission. You cannot come in second place. There is no winner for second place. You don't get a portion of the commission. So you have nothing to lose except thousands and thousands of dollars. So just go for it, and then this is what Highnote solves. You have this, you get a listing lead, and you have to put together a presentation, and this is what you're faced with. You have stuff everywhere, contract paperwork, videos, spreadsheets, CMAs, testimonials, everything in Drive, in Dropbox, and on your desktop, in the cloud, and you can't put anything together. You try to put something together, and what happens? You get stuck. You try to build it, you buy templates, and you try to build it. You try to use Canva and build it. It's impossible. You try to use these CMA tools and build it. It's impossible too. You can't customize these things very much, and they don't look great. And then you try to hire your marketing department to work on it, and it takes a while to do. So, what happens is you give up, and then you just send a long, long email full of links and full of attachments. And guess what your seller thinks? This is what they think. They're like, huh, this is huge. This is so much stuff. And they don't really get to digest it and read it properly. Not only that, you don't even know what they're reading at all. And you just throw it over the wall and just hope someone reads it and be done with it. No, there's a new way out there, and this is 2026. You have so much technology out there. You need to amp up your game. And so what we found, you absolutely need a great presentation today, and it's got to be digital and interactive. So Highnote, what it does is allows you to drag and drop easily, and it's easy to modify on the fly. So for example, the presentation I just sent to you guys, which is this one, I could easily modify it. No, sorry, this one. I could easily change it and modify it for the next person. So for example, this one, if I wanted to change the image, I could just quickly change the image here. I'm not going to do it right now because I need this for next time. But let's say I wanted to move a section around, or I wanted to hide a section, right? Let's say I don't want to talk about the collection because I'm not on the high-end side, so I can just hide it. And it's live. So if you go back to this presentation now, you'll see that this is hidden and immediately, right? So it's really, really powerful. I could add things in the middle, anything I want, files, links, etc. We have assets, asset library that you can save and insert. And then we have AI to help you build these presentations as well, AI asset builders. So super awesome, easy way to build presentations, especially for salespeople. Now, you could just duplicate that one and personalize and deliver again. It's so easy once you set up the first one to keep building these great presentations that help you stand out and win. Notifications analytics, like I said, you can read your buyer or your seller's mind with real-time notifications. You could see what, when, how many times it's being read. And it tells you so much. Highnote lets you be the proverbial fly on the wall in their house to see and understand their brains a little bit more before you show up. We have custom assets with AI to help speed up the process of your sales presentations. And then we also have a done-for-you service, which I recommend for a lot of agents, and a lot of agents love this. It's a one-on-one meeting, fast turnaround, 2 to 3 days, multiple template styles, unlimited edits. So we give you your own personal graphic designer to work with who can set up your first buyer presentation or listing presentation, and then your follow-up presentation as well. We give you a full Highnote tutorial and make sure that you are onboarded properly. We have great testimonials. Brianna Castillo with Highnote, you see what the client viewed for how long. You walk in prepared and with real insight in your pocket. Chris Lim says, I use Highnote to deliver amazing digital pre-listings and follow-up listing presentations with fantastic results. And Kelsey Nelson says, Highnote helps agents stand out and win more business in the most competitive markets. And you're not just getting a listing presentation tool, you're getting more in here, 10 tools in one. You could make a client update Highnote, an open house sign in, marketing or digital flyers. You could win offers with Highnote, recruiting or closing docs or annual reviews. And it's like having 10 tools in one. Having a platform like Highnote allows me to present every aspect of our communication from nurture to close. Winning offers. A lot of agents use this to send offers. And then digital flyers. So a lot of agents are also putting property statements and building property statements with this. And so here's one, for example, of you could send a property statement to people, and why do you do this? Well, you could see if they're interested, and you know what leads to follow up with or what agents to follow up with. Sales portfolio, showing your current sales, what you're currently working on, what's coming soon, what's for lease, what you've sold in the past. So it's a really powerful way to aggregate all that information. And then what I do is I put in my email signature. A lot of agents do this, and it's a fast, easy way to do that. And then a link in bio, having it in replace your link in bio. Welcome book, creating a welcome book for new buyers or new tenants to a home. Agent to agent walkthroughs. This is a really interesting use case when an agent wants to communicate all the value of the home to that other agent who's going to be showing it.
All right, this agent-to-agent video, this is so you know a little bit more about the house before you even walk in the door if you're showing the home. Feel free to pass this video on to your clients, but we're going to talk about 143S, 143.
The idea is that if he's showing that on Lockbox, he's not there to explain the benefits of the home. So, and then what he does is he wins so many listings with this because he tells and shows his sellers this is what he does. And guess what the other agents do? They don't do that. They don't have something so comprehensive as this for other agents to see. And he wins a lot of listings just with this method alone. All right. Client updates and seller portals. It's a great way to keep your sellers or your buyers, you know, uh, in track and in line and communicating with them everything that they need to do, but also it shows everything you did so that when the home sells or the buyer is done, they can always reference everything in one easy place that's very professional. And it's not just some email that they're searching in their inbox for everything. So it's a really nice like portfolio of activity. This is something that I did, the closing statement, you show the inventory, you show the comps, show the offers that were received, because sometimes you don't even remember a year later what happened. Staging, painting and light, bids, proposals. And then they could go back and say, wow, he did a lot for me. I remember this. And so it really pays off when you want to come up with good testimonials, get testimonials from them. Closing docs is another great way. You send this when they're done. And, it's an easy way for them to get their closing documents and because they're going to need this at the beginning of the year for their taxes. Um, and neighborhood guides, a lot of agents are building neighborhood guides with Highnotes and annual real estate reviews, so on and so on. So open house sign in as well. And I talked about agent walkthroughs, recruiting. A lot of agents and teams use it to recruit. Now, let's talk about the done for you templates. We already talked about this, the done for you template service. This is just the great thing about the done for you service is that we offer a guarantee. If you use these presentations and use Highnote as described, and if it doesn't help you win more, we will refund all of your money. And this is valid when you purchase DFY, right? So DFY is separate. It's $249, $349 per presentation. There are bulk discounts if you buy multiple ones. Chris, who's on the call here, can he shared his link if you want a demo and to talk more about it. But we believe in Highnote and the templates so greatly, we will guarantee you're going to win more and refund you if you don't. So this is what Highnote costs before discounts: $33.25 a month, $3.99 a year. It's a bargain because it's going to help you win listings and win buyers. And it's 15% off if you buy on an annual subscription versus monthly. And then each of the done for you presentations that you want built about $350, regularly $750. We have it discounted as well. If you want multiple ones, it's cheaper per presentation. But speak with Chris if you're interested. Now, in summary, having a great presentation is just an easy way to win. And that's the big summary. And now with Highnote, we make it so easy for you. Now, for Highnote, for REMAX agents, we have the special code, 20% off of everything. Highnote loves REMAX. Just go here to sign up and use this code. Highnote loves REMAX and get 20% off of everything. The price of the subscription plus the done for you. And I think we should have a slide here that shows what it costs 20% off next time. We'll do that next time. And then, I didn't mention, scan to get these free guides. These are shortcuts to winning more listings and more buyers. So how to win listings before your listing appointment, how to make sure your listing appointment is successful, and how to wow buyers before an appointment. We put these free guides together for you. Just scan this and download this, and you'll get some great tips on what to do and how to do them. All right, guys, I am done. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, just email us. It's 10:50. We need to wrap up. And yes, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. And then we're going to be having regular sessions with this. Brianna is going to be speaking about this as well as Chris Lim at REMAX. Thank you so much. Email us with any questions. Email me. And thanks for joining and stay tuned for more great content, everyone. Thanks again.